let's see where this goes. First, I'd like to say thank you to Johnny and Jose for inviting me here and taking care of me and putting peaches in my room. Thank you, Carrie, for being my hostess so far here, and the nice people that I've met before we started. And what I really want to say is thanks. What I want to really say is to the people that are new that you're part of something, and welcome. Good night. Appreciate it. So, anyway, we're not drinking. This room, I'm going to get to it. You know, this room reminds me. I got to remember to tell. What was the guy's name that just did the countdown up here? Dylan. Where are you sitting, Dylan? Is he still in the room? I told him you got to remind me to tell a story about the Jim and the loser balloon. So here we go. Okay, my father was a colonel in the Air Force. I'm one of three brothers. I'm the middle. I'm the scapegoat. Everything was my fault. I had so much potential, and if only I would apply myself. Maybe you can relate. This is going to be a tough room. I can see what we're dealing with here. Y'all are in an ice cream coma. Is that what's going on? All right, so let's wake up. Because we are not a glum lot. Has anybody ever heard somebody say, I've never been to a bad AA meeting? I have. I've been to a bunch of them. Just poison spewing from the podium. Perhaps you've been to a couple yourself. This is not going to be one of those meetings. Yeah, let's live it up. Because if the newcomer didn't see us laughing and being cheerful, why would they want to stay, right? We absolutely insist on. All right, 3 people are reading the book. Right on. The quietest kept secret in all of Alcoholics Anonymous. The big book. Congratulations to the 2 guys that got the books, by the way. Great cure for insomnia when you're new. And you guys are part of something. So here, back in the story. Here we go. So my father was a colonel in the Air Force. We moved around a lot, right? I was the middle son. Everything was my fault. I got hit a lot. The belt was used a lot in my house, the leather belt. And if you put your hand back to block the belt became the belt buckle. And so it wasn't very much fun. And my first tool for living was I wanted out. I wanted out of the room, out of the car, out of the window, out of the family, out of my earth suit. I'm on the wrong planet. Something is wrong. Whenever I'm around people, they seem to get upset when I'm around. There was this movie it was about Charles Bukowski. It's an old movie with Mickey Rourke and Faye Dunaway. It's called Barfly. I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie. Right? And there's this great scene in there where Faye Dunaway turns to Mickey Rourke. She says, "People, don't you hate people?" And he says, "No, but I seem to feel better when they're not around." Totally it epitomizes, I was way better alone. That was, so that was my tool for living. We had a Rambler Ambassador station wagon, and the back seat, the seat faced this way. For those of you listening on CD, I just turned the other way. And it was perfect. I didn't have to deal with them. It was away from the colonel's fist, right? And that's what I remember. That's the only tool I had, was I wanted out. And the next tool that I learned that if you hit people enough times or hard enough, they'll either leave you alone or they'll agree with you. So that's what I had. I had out and violence as my tools for living for the first 12 years on the planet. And when I was about 6 or 7 or 8, they started sending me to this little child psychiatrist, and people started asking me the same question that they probably asked you. What's wrong with you? Why do you do that? And I didn't know. I thought I was a bad kid, I thought I was a loser. I was told that everything was my fault, that the reason that my family had to keep moving was because of me. And I believed them. And I never took a sip of anything. You know, I hear stories in AA where people's first sip of alcohol was when I went and got my dad a beer and I brought it to him and I had a couple sips. Or I went around the table and took sips. Never had a sip of anything, right? And I started going to reform school when I was a kid, started getting in trouble, still didn't have a drink. I grew my hair really long, and I found out when I was about 10 years old that I could play the drums. I was given this gift of time. You know, you either have it or you don't. You're either a good kisser or you're not. Have you ever kissed a bad kisser? Ugh. You can't fix that. You know how Elaine dances on Seinfeld? Ain't nothing you can do with that. You either got it or you don't. So I could play the drums. It was the only thing I had going for me. We'd move around all the time. Every time I moved to a different school, you'd fill out a little ID card, a little index card, and it said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I never one time wrote, I want to be on a 5150 with a catheter jammed into me. I never said that. I want to be a convict. I want to be a loser. I want to be a newcomer in an AA meeting trying to get through the door with 6 greeters at it. Never said that. That's a tough one, ain't it? I always said I wanted to be a baseball player. I want to be the next John Bonham. If you don't know who that was, the drummer for Led Zeppelin, right? Right? And when I was 13, 14 years old, I could play everything that he could play note for note. And I knew that I was going to be that. But alcohol had other plans for me. Right? So I'm 12 years old. We're living in Washington, D.C. We're stationed my dad was stationed at the Pentagon. Never had a drink. Been smoking Camel cigarettes for about 3 years. Had hair down to about here. And was going to a lot of reform schools, running away a lot. And these kids took me out to a baseball dugout. Sounds kinky, doesn't it? And somebody busted out a bottle of Boone's Farm strawberry wine. As my sponsor would say, no grapes involved. And I took that bottle and I started chugging that bottle, and I knew, instinctively I knew, don't stop. If you stop drinking, you may not get it back. We are people that know how to not stop. And I just kept drinking, and they kept going, hey, 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 hey. And I finished the whole thing, the whole bottle of strawberry Boone's Farm wine, right? And that thing happened. That thing happened that separates me from the normal person, man. Suddenly, I felt charming, taller, funny, handsome, and the only thing that was different was that alcohol was in me. Right? And then I started to throw up. I started throwing up, you know, the way you throw up when you think your shoes are going to come out, you know? You know? And I remember holding onto the chain link fence, and I remember like it was yesterday, I remember thinking, if this doesn't kill me, man, I'm doing this tomorrow. Because for the first time in my life, you know, I walked around like a fist, just like a tangled knot, just, you know, afraid to breathe, terrified, you know, just with my fist clenched the whole time. And I felt like for the first time in my life, I exhaled. Oh, I'm comfortable with the people I'm standing with the first time on the planet. Now, I know this is Alcoholics Anonymous. I know there are many old timers here, and know that all the respect I have for you. And I understand singleness of purpose, but here's what happened next. They were passing around this thing that looked like a cigarette, but it wasn't a cigarette. And they weren't smoking it like a cigarette. They were going. And you want to say, excuse me, what are you doing? What is that? How do you do that? But you can't say that if you're an alcoholic. You have to pretend that as if you've done this 1,000 times, no matter what it is. Even if we're cutting people in half tonight. I've cut plenty of people in half. I'll take the leg. And so they're smoking. Now, keep in mind, this is a long time ago. It's not like the marijuana that they grow now that NASA is making. And, one hit can cure cancer, No, this was stuff you had to get like a record album or a shoebox and clean the seeds out. And the person that rolled my first joint didn't get that memo. And as it's going around, I don't know about you, but anything you're doing, no matter what it is, I need to do it better than you. So as it comes around, I'm watching how they're doing it. Okay, they're not holding it like that, they're holding it like that. And then, okay, I'm gonna take the biggest hit anybody's ever. Pop! The seed pops, sticks to my forehead. I'm standing there with chunks of strawberry puke in my hair, and we're all 5 of us are looking at my forehead on fire. And I'm thinking, this is the best day of my life. I loved it, man. It was like I found something I was good at. I fit into my earth suit, and I knew what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I was going to do this, because maybe alcohol wasn't your thing. You're a lot of new people here, younger people, and maybe you liked snortable alcohol. Maybe you liked injectable alcohol. Maybe you liked pill form alcohol or smokable alcohol. But it wasn't about up or down. It was about getting out of right here, right now. Because right here, right now, I'm afraid. I'm terrified. Every speaker I've ever heard in AA, what do they always say? I never felt like I fit. I always felt less than. I always felt inadequate. I was always comparing how I felt to how you look. Look at that handsome dude right there with that beautiful girl sitting. I'm never, ever going to have that. How am I ever going to have a job like him? How am I ever going to feel beautiful like you? How am I ever going to have the manners that not him, but that he has? Right? And you know what I mean, right? Always judging how I feel to how you look, and I'm losing every time, right? So it ain't about up or down. It's about getting, alcohol robbed me out of here and now, out of right here and now. So continuing with the little story, I graduated from Boone's Farm to Southern Comfort, became my favorite drink, improperly named. No one was ever comfortable when I drank Southern Comfort. There's a lot of walking around going, are they serving new ice cream back there? What's going on? I only have 2 brain cells, and one of them's watching people walk around. That's a lot. 2 brain cells is a lot for the journey we go through to get here, isn't it? Oof. Boy, it's good to be out of the bathroom, isn't it? Where's the tweakers at? We got tweakers here tonight? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Carpet patrol, right? Have you smoked things you found in the carpet before? Oh, yeah. Lots of drywall, huh? Fixing things that ain't broken. Smoke detectors coming off the ceiling because that's the DEA right there. The dog's a cop. I love the girl tweakers that came here and said, don't I look good? I'm a size none. I love them. I see that look on your face like they're saying, what the heck is going on? Yeah. Not a glum lot. Okay. So, So I'm about 14, 15 years old right now, and we get moved to San Antonio, Texas. My father became the Inspector General for the whole Air Force. Things are really crazy. One day I was getting a beating, and the beatings weren't on the butt anymore. They were about the face and neck and the rest of my body, and a switch went off in me one day where I thought, you are never going to see me cry ever, ever, never again, and I will never show anybody my feelings. And I brought that all the way here to AA. You know, I stuffed feelings. If you're brand new and you feel weird, those are called feelings. We spent a lot of money to keep those from popping up, didn't we? So, and then I went to jail when I was about 17, and while I was in jail, my whole family moved to the Philippines. Only in AA do people laugh at that. You know what I mean? If this was like the Kiwanis Club, you'd be like, oh my, a child. Not here. Hardy, har har. Did you try to commit suicide on the front lawn too, Danny? But like I said on page 132, right? We think that cheerfulness and laughter are useful because we laugh at the tragedy that we went through, right? We do. I'm sure you got some stuff to laugh about. So there I was, without a single moral compass in the world. I have no anchors on the planet. All I have is lower companions to turn to, you know? And I got that one gift, time. I can play the drums. Can't keep a set of drums together because I'm having a little problem with my alcoholism, you know? And fast forward, I'm 19 years old. This is how I came to California. I heard that, are there any other liars here tonight? Yeah. So I see you're not raising your hand. Not me. I used to lie so much I have fond memories of things that never even happened to me. You know, like when you're telling somebody a story, even in the middle of it, you're thinking, did this happen? Anyway, and it gets better and better every time you tell it. You got to add barbed wire and fire to it, and the pit gets bigger, you know, like the fish story, you know? But this is the true part of the story is I'm living in San Antonio. I hear Rod Stewart has an audition for drummers. So I put the drums that don't match in the Greyhound bus, and I'm going to come out and be the next big rock star in California, right? Yeah. Came to LA, pawn shop next to the bus stop, right? So all my drums went, get. All my dreams went away, man, because, you know, alcoholism has other plans, you know? You meet the girl of your dreams, get. You get the job interview you've always wanted, and you show up drunk. I mean, every time I ever had a chance to get the brass ring, I'd smack it out of the hand it was being handed to me in. But I told so many people all my life that I played drums for Rod Stewart that to this day, when Hot Legs or Stay With Me comes on the radio, I admire my own drumming. I really have to think, is that me? And the book talks about this. It talks about where I can no longer tell the difference between the false and the real. I can't tell. There is no difference anymore. What is reality, you know? So lots of crazy stuff's happening to me, you know. I don't know where my family is. I meet this beautiful woman in a bar. I love dive bars, man. Ooh. If I was going to drink in a bar, it had to be the dirtiest, seediest, filthiest, nastiest. The only light coming from the bar at all is the light that comes through the bottles. You know, they look like a bunch of little sexy hookers up there. Even the bottles are shaped so, you know. And I met this woman, she looked like Marilyn Monroe. She was so out of place in this bar, and she taught me how to drink 2/5 of Gilby's gin before breakfast, and she taught me what to eat with it, so not to ruin your buzz, but to be able just to keep it down. And I admired that. She was my new hero, so I married her. Right? Unfortunately, she didn't get to make it. She was killed by a drunk driver, and I'm running around on the streets, and I have no compass at all. I have no anchors. I never sat on a log fishing with my grandpa, right? No male role model ever put his arm around me and taught me life. I learned life on the streets from crazy people. I had two lives. I had musicians who were pretty crazy, and I had a bunch of alcoholic drug addicts. And it's a wonder that I'm standing here. Anyway, I'll fast forward for you. I end up in San Francisco. I'm 22 years old. I have holes in all my teeth. I have mats in my hair, and I'm wearing everything I own. Don't worry. The story has a happy ending. The only two things that I can do to get a drink at this point is I can panhandle change. I can run into a liquor store. I was back to drinking the wine with the no grapes in it, you know, the MD 2020 or the Night Drain. It was easy to steal, too, because they didn't keep it in the refrigerator. They kept it on the shelf next to the mayonnaise, right? That stuff needs no refrigeration. I'd go run in and steal that. But the other thing that I would do, I was so clever. I would go, did you know that we used to be able to smoke? There's young people here. Did you know we used to be able to smoke in bars? Did you know that? And did you know that there are some people in the world that do not finish their drink? Can you believe that? And there are some people that think a cigarette thrown into a drink is an undrinkable drink. To this I say, ha! So I would go into the bar with 2 large Tupperwares underneath my shirt, and I would go to the bar about 10 to 2. You know that beautiful place where the little brass hoop is, where the waitress goes to get service? And I would go over there, and this magical, wonderful woman, she was like an angel. She would go out to all the little places and bring back the unfinished drinks. Sounds so weird to put those 2 words together, doesn't it? Unfinished drink, right? And she'd bring them all back. And all the drinks, they had stuff in them and things, and I would dump them all into this Tupperware, right? And then I would go out back. Here's the genius. And I would take the empty one, and I would strain the stuff, whatever it was, through the... Oh, listen to you. Really? Did you ever snort stuff off of a public restroom before? Yeah, right? But isn't it funny when we get sober, suddenly we're like, is that filtered water? Hey, those cupcakes are gluten-free, right? Oh, really? This guy's smoking drywall, right? And suddenly we forget who we are. Ugh. Yeah, and I'd strain all that stuff, and I'd make myself a cocktail about this big. Some people call that pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. You know what I call that? A Long Island tea. Genius. Because I got to get out of right here, right now. Because right here, right now, I got a voice telling me that I'm nothing. I'm never going to be nothing. And what you should do, Danny, is when that car, anybody familiar with San Francisco at all? You know, when you're on Market Street, those trolleys and those buses, they swing into the curb real fast. And I used to just sit there, just stand there and think, if I could just get the courage, to just lean right out, right at the right time, I could just take myself out of here. And I was always too afraid, too scared, too chicken to do that. But I was never afraid that if what I was doing killed me, I would have been just fine during this time of my life. I was always so disappointed when I came on a 50. How many people have been on a 5150? Anybody? Danger to yourself and others, 72-hour hold. Every time I came out of it, strapped down with a catheter in me, I was always so pissed off that I was still alive and very upset that I was me. I just wanted to be anything other than me, Yeah. And I'm sleeping in doorways, and the only human contact I'm having is when the police are handcuffing me or when people are kicking my feet, telling me, that's how you wake up a wino. You don't touch a wino. You kick their feet. You tell them, get up. Can't sleep here, right? And I was hiding. I used to hate having eye contact with people, because I knew if you made eye contact with me, you could see into my soulless soul. You knew instantly how I felt about myself. And I was hiding in a phone booth. Hey, what was the guy's name that did there he is. What's his name? Dylan. Remember I told you I was going to tell you a story? Okay, remind me to come back to the payphone, okay? I'm going to go back to this story now because Dylan's in the room, because this room reminds me of it. So all my life I felt like I walked around with a bunch of balloons and they all said loser on it, a loser balloon. Every time my father was telling me, you're never going to be nothing, you're nothing, he gave me a balloon. Every time I was sitting in the principal's office or a psychiatrist's office, and you never have the capacity to love or receive love. You're just always going to be a problem. You're incorrigible. You're combative. You're this, you're that. No one ever told me that I had a drinking problem. No one ever told me that I was sick, No one ever gave me a chance until I got here. And I remember when I got my biggest loser balloon. I was in a gym just like this. It was I think it was junior high. It had to be junior high school because I dropped out in the 9th grade. And did you ever go to these dances where all the guys are lined up on one side and all the girls are on the other? Oh. Ladies, let me tell you what a tough walk this is for a man, for this man. It's called, would you like to dance? Okay? While the whole school walks and I'm walking across and I'm thinking, She's gonna say no. She's gonna say no. She's gonna say no. Hi. Would you like to dance? I don't like this song. Here's your balloon. Got to walk all the way back. Look how big this gymnasium, all the way across this gymnasium floor with this big balloon that says loser. And everybody knows. And then she's out there during the same song with a dude that looks like him with a big letter on his thing. And moron with the balloon has to walk out in the middle of the dance floor and go, I thought you said you didn't like this song. Story of my life, the loser balloon. Now, by the time I'm in Civic Center Park wearing everything I own, all I own is 2 big bushels, handfuls of loser balloons that are like the Goodyear blimp. Everybody knows that I'm a waste of time. I'm a loser. I don't deserve the air in the room, right? I have no place to turn. I don't know what to do. And I'm hiding in a phone booth. Did you know we used to have phone booths? Where, young people here, there's some young people here probably never, have you ever used a phone booth? A payphone? No. We used to have these machines that you could put money in and call people. And guess what happened if they weren't there? The phone just rang and rang and rang. And they were just out eating their food. They weren't taking pictures of their dessert, making people look at it, right? They were just eating. And if you wanted to see their sleeping cat, guess what you had to do? You had to go to their house to see it. You had to know them. The Facebook joke. So I'm hiding inside of a phone booth so people can't see me. And somebody put a bumper sticker in there. It says, do you have a drinking problem? Call Alcoholics Anonymous. Never heard of it. All the places I've been in front of, all the trouble I've ever been in, no one ever, never mentioned Alcoholics Anonymous to me. Ever. You'd think that somebody would have, right? But they didn't. So I made a collect call without a coin.
Alcoholics Anonymous, this is Judy. Can I help you?
And I can say one of 2 things at this time. Either I'm fist fighting you and screaming at you, or I'm crying. That's all I got. I'm 22. I look like I'm 50 years old. I'm the color of that man's shirt right there wearing the Giants hat. I'm iodine color. I'm wino colored, right? And all I can do is cry. And through the tears, she asked me, can you make it from Civic Center Park to Bush and Goff Street? Now, if you're an alcoholic and there's not a drink at the other end of that, that's a long frickin' way right there. I'll roller skate in the rain to get a cocktail. But to walk all the way up to some meeting that I've never been to, but I went. So I walk into my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous and waiting for me. Now, Johnny, have you ever been to a bar that you think is the very first time you've been to, ever, and the first thing the bartender says is, you, out. Anybody ever had that to him? Apparently, I've been here before, right? Apparently in a blackout, I destroyed this place or something, right? And so I walk in, and the guy's talking to this big, ginormous dude. The guy's an eclipse. He's talking to some people. He sees me, and I'm looking like a parking meter, right? I'm sucked up, broken, and he starts running towards me. And I think, uh-oh, I've been here before. And if he'd have done anything other than what he did, I would have been ready for it. If he'd have picked up a chair and hit me with it or told me to get out of here, you're not wanted here or all that, I would have known what to deal with. But you know what he did? He said, I love you. And he gave me a hug. A hug. I don't know about you, but nobody was hugging anybody where I came from when I got here. I wrestled sheriff's department, hogtied. The closest one, my human contact was 12 people trying to give me a shot. You know what I mean? And this guy picks me up and says, I love you. And I say, don't ever do that again, bro. Don't do that again. Because I'm, And he said, whatever. And he picked me up and he hugged me again, And I went there 5 nights a week, right? 5 nights a week they had meetings there. And I'd walk, I had nowhere else place to go. I knew I could get a couple of donuts there. I could get some coffee. I felt relatively safe in the very corner of the room. Nobody was telling me to get out. It was the first time that people didn't tell me to leave. They knew to keep their distance, But the price of admission was a hug. And it was tough. It was almost too much, that hug. And every time I'd come in, that guy would see me, stop what he was doing, come running over, and I'd go, don't do it. right? And he'd pick me up, I love you, and put me down. And after about 3 weeks, one night I came in, and I'm standing there, and he's just standing there talking to people. And I'm standing here, and he's just standing over there. And I'm like, hey. I started liking it. I started digging it, man. I started digging it because that's what I'm all about. I've always been in conflict with the man I'm supposed to be. I'm a gentle, loving, kind human being. That's what I am. I didn't know that I was allowed to be that, right? AA doesn't teach me how to be spiritual. Anybody that's ever held, there's a little baby here tonight. I saw a little baby. Anybody knows if you ever held a little baby, you don't hold a little baby and go, now there's a convict. There's a liar right there, man. That's a little perfect little spiritual ray of light. And I used to be like that until I adopted ego and fear and self. What AA gives me is 12 precise principles and steps to break down self and ego. And I can rip it off like a suit. And out of that comes a gentle and kind man who lets you love me, who I can love you. That's all, to me, if you take away fear and ego, all there is love, my higher power. So anyway, back to the story. So I keep going to this meeting, right? And I started 8 years of I sponsor myself sobriety. No, not sobriety, untreated alcoholism. Crazier, nuttier, more insane and violent than any new person in this room. I get a yawn from the table right there. I'm not going to take that personal. It's probably been a long day. It's the ice cream. What was the best flavor tonight? Huh? The bacon flavored ice cream. Bacon is, let me tell you how good bacon is. Bacon is so good that when it's cooking, even pigs go, what is that? That's how good bacon is. So, hey, 8 years, I'm coming in and out. I'm not in AA. I'm just going to meetings. Now, if you're new and you're just going to meetings, probably better than what you were doing in the bathroom, right? But I need 4 things. I need to go to meetings. I need to have a sponsor that I'm actively sponsored with. I need to work the 12 steps, and I need to sponsor somebody, right? So, after on my 8th birthday in 1993, I used to get to the meeting 20 minutes late. I'd just come to the meetings to ask girls, would you like to go to coffee? Coffee. You know what coffee is, right? Yeah. This is a tough room, man. It means would you like to have sex? What page is it on in the big book? Yep. Coincidence? I think not. These are areas we need an overhauling. Okay. So I go to a meeting. I go to a meeting to tell AA, you know what? You don't work. I'm one of these big dudes. I was this big Neanderthal dude, was getting fist fights every day. I used to box and mixed martial arts. I was a tough guy. I was a tough guy that really needed some love, is what I was. I parked my Harley in the doorway of this meeting, and I got up there and told everybody, you know what? You don't work. You're a bunch of liars. You're a bunch of things I won't say from this podium, and I dared anybody to come outside and tell me otherwise. And I went out that night, and I stayed out for 15 years. And while I was out, there was this girl, her name was Vicky Smart. She was like 12, 13 years sober. And she was my girlfriend. I couldn't stay sober, man. I wanted to stop. I could not stop. I would come in and out, in and out, in and out. And it was just so, it was very hard. It got so bad. Broken heel bones and shattered both my heel bones one night. That was just one night. And that whole 15 years was filled with just insanity like that. Just my life folding over on itself over and over and over. Like page 82, the alcoholic is like a tornado roaring his way through the lives of others, right? Just tough, always in my own way. Every time I've ever come to it, here's a chance and there's destroy. Always that way. When people used to ask me, when are you going to get out of your own way, Danny? I had no idea what that meant. It was the only person in my way was me and my attitude, right? And this beautiful woman named Vicky Smart, man, she was my girlfriend. And every night I'd come home. I owned 3 things. I owned a red-nosed pit bull named Brooklyn. I owned a Honda Civic with no windshield. And I'm an electrician, I own tools. I had it going on, right? And I was living with Vicky. She was paying my rent, letting me live with her, and taking care of my dog and me, And you know me, either I'm the victim or the assassin, right? Never in between, man, needing to be taken care of. Never standing on my own 2 feet as a man until I came to AA. And every night I'd start my litany of 10, I'd line them up in a nice chest. 10 king-size Coronas, 200 ounces of beer, a 1/4 ounce of OG Kush, and all the Klonopin I could get. If you don't know what Klonopin is, it's like Valium with a cape. Super Valium. And that's what I would ingest just to try to get to 0, right? And every night, Vicky would pull around, the window would go down, and she'd say, I'm going to a meeting tonight, Danny. Do you want to go? And I'd tell him, you know what? Tell AA that I said hi. And I'd be rah, 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 blah, 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 blah. And remember, I never had a sponsor, never had a big book, never worked a step, never helped another human being, only cared about myself. I had no idea what this was about. And she'd go, okay. And she'd go to the meeting. And every night, she would, like 5 nights a week, she would do that. Well, one night she pulled around, here it came, window went down. This time, she got out of the car, she opened the passenger door, and she said, I'll keep feeding your dog. I'll keep washing your clothes. I'll keep paying your rent. You can keep sleeping in my bed. I'll keep cooking your food. But if you don't get in the car right now, it all ends. So guess what I did? Guess what I did? I got in the car. If I had not gotten in the car, you'd have a different speaker here tonight. Got in the car. She took me to Rodeo, when it was on Rodeo in Beverly Hills. So imagine this room in a very snazzy church, about 7 times bigger than this, Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, Jimmy Choo, veneer teeth for everyone, 9-digit salaries for all, and everyone's doing better than you. Huh? And there I am with my loser balloon, sitting on the aisle like Pigpen. I always felt like Pigpen. No matter how much I cleaned up, I just felt dirty on the inside. Just felt, because of all the things that I'd been doing, all the unsteamable acts that I'd been carrying around, And guess who was talking that night? My sponsor. Never heard of him, never heard him talk. And it was like, I don't know if you remember the first time you ever heard your sponsor talk, it was like he was going like this. And then I felt like this. And then I felt like that. And you can do it too. You can do it because I did. It was like he was talking to me. I hope that came out. Sorry about that. It was like he was talking straight to me. It was the first time in thousands of meetings I've ever been to that had been going on in my head, it turned into, I was just sitting there, just in shock. And all of a sudden I hear, maybe. I said to the guy next to me, what? He said, I didn't say nothing. Maybe. Maybe what? Maybe you can do it. Maybe you can stay sober. Maybe you don't have to die. Maybe you can be a father to your kid. Maybe your life will matter to another human being. Maybe. A great word for people like us. It's called hope. Possibilities. You're just getting here. Life's starting for you. So I walked up and asked the scariest thing I've ever asked to a man. Will you sponsor me? Will you help me? And he said, yes. So for the next 15 years, that man never gave up on me. He did things like he waited in line at LA County Jail for 7 hours to see me for 4 minutes. He drove across California to see me while I was institutionalized, to see me on a 20-minute visit. He stayed up with me all night on the phone. He just kept loving me. I had nobody else. Everyone kept telling him for 15 years, give up on him. His wife told him, Earl, you gotta let Danny go. If you've been coming in and out, in and out, in and out, I'm telling you that you can do it. I drove here for 3 hours and 44 minutes today to tell you that you can do it. You can do it. There's a dead man standing here, right here, that nobody thought could ever get sober, and I'm 10 years sober. And I take no credit for it. I give it back to rooms like this, people like you, and my beautiful sponsor, Earl. And his sponsor, the late, great Donald Madden. And his sponsor, Norm Alpe. And his sponsor, Chuck C. And his sponsor, Bill W. Men that just didn't give up on men. Men that just loved each other. He didn't tell me about AA. He didn't say, go set up chairs. He said, come on, let's go put away the chairs. Come on, let's go thank the sponsor or the speaker, right? And he just showed me. He just loved me. He just kept loving me, man, you know? I remember one time, I'm telling you this, get a bonus sponsor story. I'm telling you, how many people think you're your sponsor's favorite? Hello? Of course you are. Make them tell you in front of your sponsee brothers and sisters. I know I'm his favorite. I'm his best work. One night, man, you know, when I was 7 months sober, and the only thing I believed in, right? I'm jumping ahead, but I want to tell you the story. It's called the Sponsor Love Machine, right? I was sitting in, I moved to the valley in San Fernando Valley because my sponsor was living in Studio City, so I had to live near him. And I was living in Lake Balboa, which is like Encino, and we had 17 days in a row of triple-digit heat, which is probably nothing for you guys. But I'm sitting there, and I'm not feeling the miracle. I'm not feeling the gift. You know how everything's a miracle? When you get here, it's a miracle. The cup's a miracle, podium's a miracle. Miracle, miracle. And when you're new, it's a little irritating when you're new. But all the chit-chat and the cheerfulness, it's a little tough because I just want to know, you know, am I going to be all right? You know, but you got to sit there and just go, yeah, okay. All right. You know, you got to give him a little room. If you're a greeter, you know, and you see that guy with that look, you know, just give him, walk in. Give him a little space. Try to remember what it was like when you were new. Don't jack him up against the wall. So I'm sitting in my apartment. It's like, you know, 1,000,000 degrees in my little tiny little box apartment, you know, and 7 months sober. The only thing I believe is Earl believes. My phone rings. And my sponsor calls me. Now, if your sponsor calls you and you're doing brain surgery, you put a towel on the head and you answer the phone because it's your sponsor. And he said, meet me at Sears at Victory and Laurel Canyon. And I jump off the stripping boat like Forrest Gump, and I go over there, and right? And I go there, and I'm wearing my Carhartts, and I'm just not feeling that gift, and I'm just feeling like the weight of the world because I'm new, you know. And if you're new and you're newly sober, know that being newly sober is not what sobriety feels like. Like being new at anything. Being a new golfer, hitting golf balls off the fairway into the thing, that's not what golfing's like. You got to keep doing it for a while. You know what I mean? Doing it for a while. You know, every 100 shots, you get that one shot that makes you keep doing it. And what sobriety feels like is after you've been doing it for several years and it gets easier and easier and easier and you get comfortable and the feelings of serenity where we'll know peace like the promises talk about, they get longer and longer. Am I right or not? Yes? Can I get an amen? Can I get a hallelujah? I just do that to scare newcomers. We will be selling the big book at the airport tonight. So I meet Earl at Sears. Now, low self-esteem right now is a goal for me, right? I have zero self-esteem. I don't know about you, but you give me a gift, I don't deserve it. And he walks me into the air conditioning department. And I said, what are we doing? He goes, I can't have you uncomfortable. I love you. And he tells the guy, give him the best one with the most BTUs. He looked it up. He didn't know what a BTU was, but he said it. It's British thermal units. That's how you measure, you know. And he goes, give him the best air conditioner they have. And I'm like, dude, I don't. He goes, just take it, Danny, just take it. So I take the air conditioner, I put it in my Ford Ranger that I got sober in that had whiskey wrinkles all over it, all dented up and beat up. I used to have to park it 2 blocks away from the meeting because I was so embarrassed of it, you know what I mean? I put it in the back, and I'm a union electrician, so putting an air conditioner in a window for me is nothing. It's nothing. So I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just driving home, and the beast is talking to me, just working on me, the beast. You know the beast? The mental obsession? We'll talk about that in a second. And I just not thinking about it, and I put this air conditioner in the window. Bam! And I turn it on. I love you, Danny. You can do it, Danny. You're gonna be alright, Danny. As soon as that air hit my face, man, I started to cry. I had tangible evidence that somebody loved me and cared about me, man. I felt his love. And when I was working on the W Hotel in Hollywood, there's that pocket when you hit Lancashire, when you go into the valley, where it gets like 30 degrees warmer, right? And it was really hot, and I'd be smiling, knowing as soon as I opened that door, you can do it. I couldn't sleep. You don't sleep when the head's just working on you. Wake up. We want to tell you, there's no point in going to work. You're a loser. You're never going to be nothing. We've been waiting for you to wake up. But I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd hear, don't worry, Danny. And let me tell you something. 10 years later, damn right, that air conditioner in my window right now, my room is 69 degrees right now, man. It's as soon as I open that door, I know that somebody loves me and I'm connected to something so much bigger than myself. To my sponsor, Earl. A man that just relentless, man. God, I love you, Earl. So, this is how I joined AA. Well, I was in the middle of talking about something. I'm going to meetings, and I'm going to meetings. When you go in and out, where's the relapsers? Are you here tonight? Where's the relapse? Going in and out, in and out. Sitting in a meeting, doing your commitment. I hate the break. The break is a bad thing for new people. The break is when the beast goes, we don't need to stick around for the main speaker. My beast is like a little 5'2" hooker. Talk about cunning, baffling, and powerful, I'd be sitting in a meeting, just set up every chair in the meeting, sitting there waiting, listening to, and instead of being able to hear the speaker, she's like, hi, Danny. She's got a little cocktail dress on, a little hard butt, You worked really hard today, Danny. Let's just go get a Corona. And I'm like, yeah, Corona. You're not like these other people. You can just have a couple tonight, just a couple. And as soon as I give her a sip, she turns into like a 600-pound sumo wrestler. Thank you. Thanks. Come on, bitch. Get in the car. Let's go. We're going downtown. Oh, you don't need your integrity. Oh, no. You're not going to need that after what we do in the bathroom. Right? She changes. It's like in the book on page 36. Suddenly, the thought crossed my mind that a little whiskey in my milk might not be a bad idea. 6 lines down, what does it say? Thus started another trip to the asylum for Jim. I got to think it through, man. The beast is talking to you. I know you're new and your head's talking to you. When the beast is talking to you, you turn to someone next to you and go, beast is talking to me right now. It's so loud, I'm surprised you can't hear it. If you have a plan, tell somebody about your plan. If you don't even need cable TV if you sponsor. Sponsees are so entertaining. You just put it on a speakerphone and let everybody gather around and go, listen to this. Oh, yeah. They're going to move in together. I know. Put it on mute and just let them talk. Oh, that'll work out. Perfect. Right? You got to tell somebody about your plan because your brain's broken, right? Page 24, what does it say? We are unable at certain times to bring forth with sufficient force the memory and the suffering of the humiliation of just a week or a day ago. I am without defense against the first drink, so I need defense. So what do I do? What do I do when she starts saying, hi, Danny? I tell her, you know what? No thanks. I don't feel like going to Thalion's Mental Center. Because that's what I do when I take a drink. When I take a drink, I need to do a bunch of other things. And I wouldn't, like my friend Carl Morris says, I wouldn't give up my daughter for the first drink, but I sure would for the second one. I wouldn't give up my job for the first drink, but I would for the second one. And every other thing I've ever had going for me, right? So how did I join AA? How did I finally I'm going in and out, in and out, in and out. Never felt a part of AA, right? Never, ever. They'd read the promises and I'd think, oh yeah, and we'll all pet my unicorn after the meeting, okay? Really? I will know the meaning of the word serenity and peace? Really? Serenity, 5 minutes of peace cost me $600, okay? Am I right? And only for a minute. Just that time, like for that second right before you black out when you go, right? And they're talking about you will know that you will feel useful. Really? So I'm coming in and out, and I'm going to my Monday night group. Uh-oh, you're going to leave before the miracle. Okay. Kidding. So do you guys have participation meetings out here where you can't raise your hand? You don't have those? You got them, right? You got some, right?
You got to be called on, right? You have to be called on.
It's a great place to get a resentment. Like you're not resentful enough, right? Now you have to be, and they'll call on Nancy, and now we're going to call on Nancy. You know, who we've called on for the last 9 weeks in a row. Nancy. I hate Nancy. I hate Nancy and all her friends. And my home group was the Sherman Oaks good old AA Monday night, Luther and Steve A. and my sponsor would save a seat for me, and I'd go in there, and you had to be called on, right? And I hated it. And you know, in these meetings where they ask you to be a leader, they tell you, hey, listen, whatever you do, there's always a nut in the, somebody that's kind of crazy in these meetings. They go, whatever you do, don't call on Phyllis. She's nuts. And sometimes the leader doesn't get the memo, and they go, Phyllis? And the whole room goes, oh. Unbeknownst to me, I had become the person to not be called on in my home group. They didn't even know my name. They'd called it, I was known as the angry guy that Earl sponsors. I was just, you've seen him, untreated. And I didn't want to piss anybody off, and I didn't want to be mean to anybody. These are all Earl's friends, and I'm acting better than I feel, and I'm just sitting there, and I don't know how to process my feelings. I don't know what to do with my feelings. Nobody ever told me what to do with them, but I'm trying, and I'm going every night, and I'm sitting there, and this is how I joined AA. Never felt a part of AA ever. And remember, I got the maybe. I got Earl, and I got maybe. And this was the night that maybe changed. And I'm sitting there, and this woman goes, Danny, would you like to share? And everybody went, oh. And I sat I almost stood up. And I said to Earl, can I say whatever I want? And he goes, go ahead. And I said, you know what? You're all a bunch of liars. Every one of you, especially you. And you, Nancy, don't want to hear you anymore. Don't need to hear you and a bunch of... Only reason I got... You know what? If I was on fire right now, there ain't a person in this room would pee on me. And no one said anything. And 2 rows behind me, Margie said, I'd pee on you, Danny. Swear to God it happened. And guess what happened? I was laughing too. I caught myself laughing. And for the first time in my life, I was laughing at my own expense. The chip that I'd been carrying around on my shoulder fell off, and I turned into, yes, I want to be an AA. I can do this. I can do this. My maybe turned into hell yes. And I turned into when you go to somebody's house and they have like a Labrador that they say, whatever you do, don't touch the ball. If you touch the ball, you're going to spend the rest of the night with the ball. I turned into that dog. I was like, right? And I had to wait for everybody to move away, and I walked up to my sponsor for the first time in 15 years. I asked him, Earl, what do you want me to do? And there's that guy at the meeting. You know the guy, the first thing they show you is their neck? You know that guy with the tattoos on the face like this? And all he's missing is a sign that says, stay away. I said, Earl, tell me what to do. What do I got to do, man? I'm in. I got it. He says, go say hi to that guy. And in my head, I thought, this is what I was thinking. Dude, look at him. But somehow, I turned into Forrest Gump, and I said, okay. That's what I did. And that's what I've been doing my entire, from February 18th to 2008, I have been doing things that I don't want to do, and I have not been doing things that I would like to do. They're called contrary actions, right? The secret in AA. Are you ready for the secret? Are you ready? I'm going to give it to you now. Page 62 says, what is the root of our problem? What is it? That's right. So what is the contrary action of self? The constant thought of others. Everywhere, our book is riddled with it, right? All it ever says, it keeps telling you in the 10th step, what does it say to do on the last, the steps you have to take? Somebody, you know how to do a 10 step, right? Right? Keep looking for when fear and selfishness and dishonesty crop up. We immediately ask God, take it away from me, right? Talk about it with somebody immediately. Johnny's astonished because he's not at step 10 yet. I'm kidding. Come on, Johnny. I love Johnny. Do you guys love Johnny? And then what does it say to do at the last part of the 10th step? Resolutely turn your thoughts to someone else, right? The third step, what does it tell me? To relieve me of the bondage of self, right? So if you're new and you're having problems, what we got to do is we got to think about other people. When I'm driving here and coming here to talk to you guys, my life is perfect. I don't drive here thinking, oh, good, it's a miracle. Oh, joy, I get to drive for 3.5 hours. But I drive home with my heart filled, man. It's the big buzz. You know, it's better than black tar heroin and the best vodka you can buy. I swear it is. If you're looking for the big buzz, go to a treatment center. Not one of those fancy ones, you know, like Miracles in a Mansion on a Cliff by the Sea. You know, where Wolfgang Puck is making the midnight snack. You know, gather around, we're all going to meditate with the Maharishi. I'm talking about go to the Salvation Army. Go to some Skid Row. Go to those meetings that you don't normally go to. Go sit in the back. Go take a guy to coffee. Go buy a guy a hamburger. Go sit across from a gal. Right? Go find somebody that has nothing what you want. That's a good sponsee for me. When I spot a guy that's got nothing I want, I go, give me that guy. And I keep talking to that guy and watch that little light go across his eyes. Right? It's called hope. Watch that happen in another human being. Have you ever had it happen? You've done it? Is it a buzz? It's the buzz that just won't go away, man, you know? So that's how I joined AA, man, and I don't know what my time is. I haven't really been watching. How much I got? Okay. Can you tell I'm very passionate about Alcoholics Anonymous? I love Alcoholics Anonymous, right? I haven't gone through all the steps with you because you have a book and you have a sponsor for that, you know? The magic is the steps. Usually when we talk, you know, I'm going to go to St. Louis where in 1955 Bill unveiled the circle and the triangle. I saw there's a broad back there. You got it, the circle and triangle on your hand, right? I got it on my thumb, right? I put it there so when in transactions all day long, every once in a while I go, hey, friend of Bill, huh? Yes, I am. It's like wearing a little camel around your neck or a little triangle, you know? So I can break my anonymity when I need to. So there's a circle and a triangle. If you're new, maybe you haven't seen it. You probably have. We put them on everything and we sell them, right? Right? So it's an ancient symbol for mind, body, and spirit. Therein lies a whole human being seeking the balance that I never had, right? And we turned it into unity, recovery, and service, right? Unity is the first side of the triangle. Unity is the body. I bring it to a meeting. I can't stay sober, but we seem to be able to. I have stopped many times. but I can't stay stopped. This isn't about stopping. This is about getting comfortable in my earth suit so that I don't drink again. Second side of the triangle. Recovery is of the mind. I need to work the 12 steps. I need to have a change in perception. It's amazing how different things can look just from right here. I've always looked at it right here. Ugh. But right here, amazing. Just a tiny little change, right? So having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, I get to be of service. I get to close that triangle. You know, in engineering, the triangle is the sturdiest structure that there is. That's why they use the triangle, right? Now I can be, how can I help? Instead of being a burden to you. AA has given me so much. AA has given me integrity and a life that I can't believe. I'm a superintendent. I'm a musician. A lot of people ask me at the end, I kind of forget to wind different things up. I've forgiven my father. You know, when I did the fourth step, the fourth step isn't to absolve anybody of what they did, right? It's for me to get free. I don't want to walk around with a bullet in my pocket for his brain anymore. If I could blame my father my whole life for all the things that he did to me, all the bad things that happened, well, shouldn't I fairly then give credit to all the good things that have happened to me too? The sunsets that I've seen, the girls that I've kissed, the concerts I've rocked out at? I choose to do that because I need a way out. The fourth step is a way out for me. I need to stop carrying that so I can get some love. I need to be loving. I'm going to give you this one last little sponsor story here, okay? I love my sponsor, right? I'm going to tell you this, the most incredible thing that Earl's ever said to me, right? 4 words that Earl's told me. Shut up, Danny, that's 3. When I was like 10 months sober, you know, I came here, I was like $110,000 in debt with the IRS, and I never paid my taxes, owed child support, and I think I'm less than $3,000 in debt now, you know? And they put a levy on my bank account, right? It's an express lane to the 9th step. And at my Monday night meeting where all the people, you know, where I hated all those people, I became the greeter, a greeter with people I couldn't stand. You know what I mean? I'll go to any lengths. All my sponsor had to say was, that looks like a pretty good commitment. And my sponsor translator said, do that or die. So I'd stand there and act better than I felt every night. How you doing? Hope you don't share. Hello, Nancy. And on my way to the meeting, I found out that they put a levy on my bank account, and I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent, and I didn't know how I was going to make car payments. And I was working on the W Hotel, and the only thing I believed that Earl believed. And since then, by the way, I have a higher power now. My higher power is love, is gentleness and kindness. That's what I believe in. I make power. I'm an IBEW Local 11 electrician. I can make power. And the strongest force that I've ever come in contact with in the world is kindness, gentleness, and love. Wow. What better can you say about somebody when they walk away than, what a kind person? That's what I want. I'm striving for that. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. So I was the greeter, right? And so I'm sitting in my apartment, and I've got to go to that dumb meeting. You know when you got a commitment and you're new? How many new people you got? Where's the people with 1 and 2 days? You're sitting over there, right? You got a commitment yet? Yeah, you got to get a commitment that challenges you. Make coffee for 400 people. That's a good one, right? Get a commitment. You got to get a commitment to where if you're not, I mean, if I hadn't shown up, is it hard to find somebody here that can stand up and talk about themselves for an hour? No. But if the coffee maker don't show up, there's going to be a riot. You know what I mean? You get a coffee maker, chair setter up or something like that where you're sitting in your apartment, it's been a long day at work, and the brain is telling you, I don't feel like going to the meeting, but I got to because I'm a greeter because I said I would, right? So I'm sitting there in my apartment, and the phone rings again, and it's Earl. And he says, meet me at the corner of Reseda and Ventura. So jumped out of the shrimping boat, and I go meet Earl. And he's standing there, he's got a piece of paper like this. broad daylight. I'm wearing my Carhartts, big problems, all the problems in the world, because they're my problems. And I walk up to him. I parked my Ford way over there. And he said, "This is for you, Danny." And I said, "What is it, Earl?" He goes, "You called a piece of paper? Come on." I wasn't feeling the miracle, remember? I opened it up, big stack of money. Money. I go, "Dude, I do not want your money." He goes, "It ain't my money. Read the paper. This is an anonymous gift. Keep it or pass it on." He said, "You know all those people at the meeting you said wouldn't pee on you if you're on fire? They all found out that you couldn't pay your rent, Danny, that you couldn't make your car payment, and they're afraid that you're going to leave us. And they want you to know that you're loved there. Even though you scare them, they love you. And they got together. They loved you, and they want you to stay." And I started getting emotional in front of a man in the daylight. So I gave him a quick hug, and I ran away. And as I got to my car way in the into the parking lot, he said those 4 words to me. 5 words. I was holding back that mud, you know. I was welling up, man. I'm holding it back. I couldn't get in the car. "Danny, you're part of something." Oh God, I'm part of something, man. I'm holding that paper, man. I get in the truck, and I'm crying. That kind of boohoo, phlegm, snot coming out cry. Years and years of stuff coming out. Just joy, holding onto the steering wheel. So I start my truck, holding onto the thing right there, with driving the thing. And I'm on Ventura Boulevard. Green light. Can't drive. Can't see. Snot and tears. And this lady's saying, right next to me in the car, she says, "Honey, are you okay?" I said, "I'm part of something." She said, "Okay." I go into my little apartment, man. I sit there and I'm holding this little piece of paper that shows, once again, with the sponsor love machine. And I'm holding this. The group has accepted me. Alcoholics Anonymous has accepted me now. I have tangible evidence that I'm part of something good, that I can do it. And I'm telling you, you're new and you think you can't do it, you can do it. You are part of something too. Thanks for having me here today. Thank you.